Welcome back to Baker Makes It. In this episode, we are going to be working on installing all kinds of different lights on the outside of this 1971 Holiday Rambler. Now, if you've been following along, you know this has been a long-running project, and the outside was painted earlier this year, and now we're just working on a lot of these details to get the outside sealed up before we jump onto the inside. So the next big step in that is going to be to install our clearance lights. We've got orange and we've got the red ones that are going to go on the front and then the back. And then we've also got our tail lights. We've got these 4-inch round tail lights, which I am just absolutely terrified to put in because we have to drill a really big hole. Imagine chucking this in your drill and drilling this hole in something you've been working on for years and just painted. And that is what we're going to do in this episode. If I mess that up, it could be hundreds of dollars and many days of extra work. So we're going to be super careful, but let's start with the clearance lights and let's kind of build some confidence. In addition to the lights themselves, we've got these chrome covers, and these are going to go around. Now, these are essentially what was on the camper before, but they were very pitted and the chrome just was shot. So I looked up the part number, found these. They're extremely close to the same. The holes are maybe a 32nd of an inch off, but you can see how this sits inside like that. So we're going to put them back on because we've already got the holes for them, and so otherwise we'd have to probably put rivets on all the holes. These weren't terrifically expensive, so we're going to get these on as well. Those came from E-Trailer, in case you happen to be looking for them. These are just Amazon LED clearance lights. The company, I don't even remember the company. I think it was like Part Sam or something. All it is just a very simple plastic base with an LED circuit board. Hole spacing is the same. What's not the same though is where these wires come out. They are offset very close to the edge, and the holes on the original ones are closer to the middle. So I did a test on one of these, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a Dremel to Dremel out some of this plastic and kind of route these wires over more towards the middle like this and then come through. They're also totally flat on the back, which means the grommets that were in the original holes don't work with these. It pushes them too far off the surface. So I'm really trying to get them to come into the hole with a little bit of slack. And then we're just going to put a big old glob of caulk on there to try to keep that from moving. Don't have a great option. Any sort of grommet is just pushing it out too far. So, you know, normally you'd want something to protect that metal edge, but I think these have a pretty heavy insulation on them, and you know, worst case, if they did ground out, it wouldn't be that hard to fix from the outside. So I'm not too worried. If I start blowing fuses, I will know that this is a possible thing. So hopefully this works. But we're gonna go through all 18 of these and just start dremeling these pieces out, and then we're gonna be butyl taping the back, and then it's just as simple as putting them on. So this shouldn't take too long. I'm very excited. I think this is gonna start making it look very finished, and it's one of the biggest steps to really getting this sealed up. So let's start grinding. All right, so we've got all these prepped now, all the ambers at least. We ran 2 rows of butyl tape here, and we kind of rerouted those wires to be more towards the center. There's a little bit of a hump where the wires go, but the thickness of the butyl tape should eat that up. And then we just kind of trimmed it to, there's like an inner circle on these, and with this particular one, there's drain holes on these, so those will go to the bottom. So we don't have to seal all the way to the outer edge. There's kind of a little drip ring built into that we're going to go with. Pulled the covers off as well, just so we can get the screws in here. And then the excess butyl tape that I cut off, I came and I just made little circles on all these. So that will seal those holes when we run the screws in. So now we're going to go out, start putting these in. The way that's going to go is we'll set the light, put the cover on, and then put this on and get screws in it. The only ones that are going to be a little weird are there's 2 side ones down low that were reflectors, and swapping them to actual lights. So I have to drill a new hole for the wires. We'll just do a rough measurement on that, drill that out, and then we should be able to mount those. So let's do it. All right, we've got them in, and wow, do they look great. I am so happy with how that turned out. Drilling those holes was terrifying, and there were some tough spots with screws I had to drill through, but wow, really happy with that. The one thing that didn't work out great is that you can see here that butyl tape is not fully contacting. If I push on it, it smushes a little more. These have 3 screw holes each, and I just don't think that's enough for how uneven the surface is. So you can kind of see I've marked with a Sharpie in between. We're going to make it 6 screws per. So I'm going to come through and drill all these, add 3 more screws to each, and then cut that butyl tape again. And then these things should be watertight. All right, that's a wrap for the clearance lights. We got the ambers on the front. That worked out pretty well. Adding that, we were able to reuse some of the old holes and cover up the ones that were no good there. And then on the back, we've got a real nice combo here of the tail lights and the clearance lights. Just really couldn't be happier with how this looks. As a quick bonus, we're going to throw on the porch light too before we wrap this video up. All right, that was a nice easy add on there, 2 screws. Already had everything out, so I figured we'd just throw that on. That's actually the clearance light from I think it's a 50s or 60s dump truck. But there she is, that's on, and these are all looking really good. So we still have a bunch of stuff on the outside to work on, but we are getting there. When I say it's a lot of little stuff, it's like the plumbing and the electrical hookups. Each of those will probably take 15-20 minutes. We've got the cover for the step that has to go on. We've got all of the trim on the outside. That one's going to be a little harder. We're talking about almost 400 feet of trim. So that's going to be probably a whole video is cleaning that up and getting that on, trying to put the puzzle pieces together where it all goes. We've also got the front and rear shields over the windows. I can't remember what they're called right now, but the fiberglass shields need to be cleaned and painted. So there's a lot left on the outside, but we are getting there. I want to get all this wrapped up so we can get it insulated this fall. So thanks for watching. If you're not yet, please subscribe to Baker Makes It. I work really hard on these videos, and appreciate all of you for following along. We'll see you on the next one.